Y'all ready for this?
Our focus is on the modern state of Judaism within Israel and the United States. These countries are of particular interest due to the fact that combined they account for more than 90% of the Jewish population in the world, with 6.5 million Jews in America and just under 6 million Jews in Israel.
Due to their high populations, we figured they would be of particular interest in terms of their significance in the Jewish world. We decided to study the particular sects of Judaism within the two countries and note their ideological significance and their adaptation of the Jewish faith. Within Israel, we decided to focus on religious Zionism, conservatism, and ultra-Orthodoxy. And within the United States, we decided to discuss Orthodox Judaism, conservatism, and Reform Judaism. The modern state of Israel was founded by the United Nations resolution in 1948. Israel was constructed after World War II and the Holocaust. Israel is an extraordinarily diverse state, and this is partly due to Zionism, which is a religious ideology that linked the Jewish people to a physical location, which is Israel. Zionism's thought, in general, depicted Israel as its nation, and after World War II, it was only natural for the shambled European Jewish communities to reconfigure themselves within a border of their own. So naturally, after the state's establishment in 1948, there was a flood of immigrants into Israel, creating a very diverse and eclectic group. Israel is home to 42.5% of the world's Jewish population, and with close to 6 million inhabitants, 79% of the state within Israel is Jewish.
Modern Orthodox Jews are the strictest sect of modern Judaism in America. While they encourage interaction with the outside world, it is only allowed if it does not compromise Jewish law. They place a large amount of significance on the state of Israel and are typically Zionistic, meaning they believe in the nation of Judaism. Modern Orthodox Jews also place a large amount of importance on the Torah and reject the changes of Reform Judaism and Conservative Judaism. They follow all laws strictly laid out in the Torah and do not feel the Torah can be modernly interpreted because it is the direct word of God. There are many different sects of this more rigorous form of modern Judaism, but they all hold these general beliefs.
Religious Zionism is very comparable to the modern Orthodox that was just previously described by John, and are the most comparable version of Orthodoxy within Israel. They identify themselves as a combination of Zionism and Jewish religious faith. Rabbi Abraham Isaac Kook and his son Zevi Judah Kook saw the significance within the Zionistic movement and justified it under Jewish principles and ideologies, and urged the Jewish community to support the efforts to settle in the land of Israel. Religious Zionists partake in modern civilization while maintaining an Orthodox faith and adhering to religious law and tradition. In 1902, Mizrachi was formed, which was the organization of religious Zionists that centered their belief on the Torah and how it should be a major component of Zionism. In 1956, they merged with the National Religious Party, which was comprised of other Zionist supports. The party has an emphasis on making Israeli law consistent with the Jewish law.
Conservative Judaism developed in the 1850s in Germany as a solution to those who viewed Orthodox Judaism as too strict and Reform Judaism as too relaxed. It quickly spread to America by the 1880s, and in 1886, the Jewish Theological Seminary was founded in New York City as a more traditional alternative to the Hebrew Union College. The Union of Orthodox Congregations rejected the seminary because their academic approach was too relaxed. In 1901, the Rabbinical Assembly was founded, and it established the Committee on Jewish Law and Standards. In 1913, the conservative movement established the United Synagogue, which later became the United Synagogue of Conservative Judaism. Conservative Judaism grew and became the most popular form of Judaism in America, and sustained that title through the 1990s because it was a happy medium between the traditional Orthodox Judaism and the radical Reform Judaism.
The concept of conservative Judaism was to maintain traditional Jewish elements and become progressively modernized in the current world. Those that identify with the movement accept the tolerance for Zionism as well as traditional Jewish laws and values. However, they emphasize plurality. They place an emphasis on inclusivity and structure their practice around this idea. Conservative Jews embrace the traditional Jewish lifestyle, but do not accept all laws and scriptures from the Torah. Conservative Judaism believes that the truth found in the Jewish scriptures come from God, but were transmitted by humans and contain human components. They believe that Jewish law should be adapted to present culture, and this follows with an emphasis on plurality and inclusiveness. In Israel, the conservative movement falls under the title Masorti, or Traditional Movement, and was established in Israel in 1979. They adapt the same ideals of the conservative movement, and they want to be incorporated with secular society and live within the same culture and communities as all other forms of Jewish identity. Unique to Israel is the kilat, or congressional approach to spreading conservative ideals. The kilats are set up all over the country of Israel, totaling about 50 different kilats. By having so many locations in kilats, they can attract a wide range of people and achieve their pluralistic goals. These kilats aspire to transgress the message of strengthening the community through religious and spiritual lifestyle. The kilats are extraordinarily welcome and currently are going up in popularity throughout Israel and are attractive to immigrants. Some of the kilat communities have their own synagogue building and services, as well as community programs in order to enhance their identity and lifestyle.
Reform Judaism is the most liberal form of Judaism in today's world. Its main difference from Orthodox and conservative Judaism is the fact that Reform Jews believe that Judaism and Jewish traditions should be modernized in order to be more applicable to the present culture. They believe Jewish law should be viewed as guidelines as opposed to strict rules. Although they believe in the sacred writings in the Torah, they feel that their heritage has evolved over time into the belief system that they have today. They understand that due to this, there will be pluralism, and this is encouraged due to the liberal views of Reform Jews. The first group of Reform Jews in America began in Charleston, South Carolina in 1824, when 47 members of the congregation of Beth Elohim signed a petition requesting that their congregational leaders institute certain ritual reforms, including the introduction of prayers in English. When their petition was denied, they formed a new congregation. In 1846, Rabbi Isaac Mayer Wise came to America from Bohemia and became a leader of Reform Judaism. He wrote the first American Siddur in 1857, established the Union of American Hebrew Congregations in 1873, and founded the Hebrew Union College in Cincinnati in 1875. In 1885, a group of Reform rabbis adopted the Pittsburgh Principle, which concluded in three main principles. 1. The rejections of laws rooted in rituals rather than on a moral basis. 2. The recognition of the worth of Christianity and Islam. 3. The vision of Jews as a religious community as opposed to a nation, or the rejection of Zionism. Then, in 1889, the Central Conference of American Rabbis was formed. In 1937, the CCAR adopted the Columbus Platform, which established a long list of principles relating to three main topics: God, the Torah, and Israel. By 1935, many members of Reform Judaism began to question their reforms and began to slightly shift back to the traditional views. In 1937, the Columbus Platform reincorporated many of the discarded practices into the Reform movement and created the base of Reform Judaism, which we know today.
Ultra-Orthodox Judaism is seen as the most theologically conservative sect of Judaism. They are referred to as the Haredim, which translates into those who tremble before God, which transcends into the practice of being a God-fearing sect of Judaism. Their immigration to Israel began long before the Zionist immigration in the 1880s. However, more recently, in the 1980s, there have been many developments of the ultra-Orthodox communities in the West Banks of Israel that they can thrive in a secluded, homogeneous community. Ultra-Orthodox Judaism is typically identified as an anti-Zionistic, and they reject the legitimacy of the modern state of Israel, claiming that Israel is a heretical entity. They also reject the modernization of the common Jewish communities and are extraordinarily opposed to the social and cultural changes of the Jewish religion. Their ideology centers on a strict adherence to Jewish law and a devotion to a Jewish education and study of the Torah, with a strong appreciation for prayer and ancient Jewish traditions and practices. They consider the path to a Jewish life is built through religious devotion. Their appreciation for ancient Jewish practice is exemplified through the traditional dress of the Middle Ages, composed of a black suit and a wide-brimmed hat. Currently in Israel, ultra-Orthodox Jews are not held in high regards. Due to their focus on education and traditional views, they exclude themselves from the traditional Israeli practice, yet still argue for legitimacy within the Israeli government. They refuse to accept the mainstreamed ideologies. However, they receive financial support through educational stipends from this mainstream government. They are becoming a financial burden for Israel, and their extremely high birth rates only worsen the problem. Also, through their ultra-Orthodox practices, they are exempt from the draft military system, as well as police force duties and volunteer services. This upsets the general Israeli community. They are seen as a state within a state, with their own schools, court systems, and institutions, and their exclusion from modern Israel is concerning to the general population.
As Americans become more and more liberal, new changes arise in culture. Oftentimes, people look to their religion for advice on how to react to these changes. Two major changes in modern society are gay rights and women's rights. The different sects of Judaism in America respond to these changes differently. Orthodox Jews do not allow the inclusion of open gays in their practices. They consider it a disgrace to the religion. A leading European university professor spoke out, saying that there should be no Jew identified as having an inclination towards male-on-male sex, and that it's a tragedy for a Jew to come out of the closet and identify himself as being oriented towards an abomination. Conservative Judaism has the most relaxed rules in terms of gay marriages and gay rabbi. Conservative rabbis, synagogues, and institutions can perform or host same-sex commitment ceremonies and are free to hire openly gay rabbi and cantors. This is very interesting because they allow both civil and Jewish marriage. This is due to the conservative Jews' open interpretation of the halakha, which is the Jewish law. Reform Judaism has more relaxed ideas. They allow gays to perform both services and marriages. They feel that all rabbis, regardless of sexual orientation, be accorded the opportunity to fulfill the sacred vocation that they have chosen. And in the 1996 resolution, the CCAR resolved to say, to support the right of gay and lesbian couples to share fully and equally in the rights of civil marriage, and voiced opposition to governmental efforts to ban gay and lesbian marriages. The CCAR Committee of Response addressed the question of whether homosexual relationships can qualify as kedushin, which is defined as Jewish marriage. By a committee majority of 7-2, the committee concluded that homosexual relationships, however exclusive and committed they may be, do not fit within this legal category. Therefore, they cannot be called kedushin. Dealing with women's rights in the synagogue, the Orthodox Jews do not give females any power in terms of becoming rabbi or cantors. Reform Jews believe that women and men are equal, and they allow both men and women to be rabbi and cantors. The first Reformed female rabbi was ordained in 1972. Lastly, the conservative Jews feel the same way as the Reform Jews. Women are allowed to become rabbi as well as cantor and have all the same rights as men. This is due to their belief in the open interpretation of the Hakalah, and the first female rabbi was ordained in 1985.
In conclusion, we hope that we've shown the ideologies of these different sects of Judaism and their modern thoughts on the current world.